Hey violinists, in today's video, I'm going to be sharing with you how I clean my violin using a polish, a violin polish, and a couple microfiber cloths. And that's essentially what you need to be able to clean your violin. Just a couple used violin polish cloths and violin polish. Now I got this violin polish a little while ago from my local violin shop. It's their own recipe for cleaning violins at their violin shop, but I also recommended one from W.E. Hill, and you can get that at fiddlershop.com. I'm going to leave an affiliate link down in the YouTube description below for you to take a look at. So I always recommend using a couple microfiber cloths versus just one, because you have to buffer the violin with some of the polish, and then you kind of have to clean off all the rest of the polish. So I'm going to be using those two today. But first, we also have to talk about how to clean the fingerboard. Now, I do not recommend using the violin polish on the fingerboard because that's not what this recipe is made for. Just want to kind of point that out there, that do not use this on the ebony wood. This is just for the spruce or maple, whatever violin, whatever your violin is made out of. So on the top, I have spruce, and I'm going to be cleaning my violin in a circular manner, and also getting a crack at just cleaning my violin scroll. But before we get to any of that, I'm going to use one of my dirty microfiber cloths just to be able to clean the fingerboard. Now you may notice, based on my playing, it's very hard to do with the lighting. Maybe I can raise that up a bit so you can see. That's a little better. So you can see that there's a lot of skin that kind of builds up on the fingerboard. That's normal. But what you want to do is you want to clean the violin fingerboard this way so that you don't have any skin left. And this is pretty easy to clean off. Now, if you are an advanced violinist, you might notice that you have a lot of skin debris, like right over here near the edge of the fingerboard, or as a matter of fact, you might see a little bit more in first position to third position. So we're going to be cleaning that together. So what I like to do is I like to start off like from the E string side and then work my way towards the left. But for those hard to reach spaces, you are also able to take the string off or loosen it up a bit and then tighten it up with the pegs. But in today's video, we're not going to be doing that. I don't have a lot of fingerboard cleaning to do, but I'm gonna go ahead and do that. And if you want to grab your violin and follow along with me, feel free to do so. So I'm just gonna go ahead a little bit this way and also get on the other side. And you also may notice that you can barely see it, but a lot of the metal from the string is actually touching the fingerboard. And some luthiers, they're able to clean the ebony wood, but as you can see, just by like me rubbing it off a bit, it's maybe hard to see with this lighting, but there's like a little straight line of dirt or gunk that I'm trying to clean off here. It's always good to just clean your violin in general, because you know, all that gunk and all that dirt gets stuck into the pores of the wood, and it just helps your violin resonate more. So it's always good to kind of keep in check. Think of it like a spring cleaning or a winter prep. So I'm going over to the A and D string now. And sometimes what may happen is that you will have a little bit of gunk or dirt near the nut of the violin. I don't have that much, but it's always good to just double check. I use a corner of my microfiber cloth just to get into that hard to reach space, and I just clean it this way. And you'll have a little bit a cleaner part of the fingerboard here. Yes, and then another thing, which we'll do in a moment, we're going to put the microfiber cloth underneath the strings just to get one last cleaning out of it, but we'll do that in a second. So right now I'm just going to continue working my way towards the left. You kind of hear all the string noise and all the dirt that's coming off the microfiber cloth. Here we go, just a little bit more. It's already looking a lot better. Maybe it might be hard to look over the screen here, but you'll notice that you want to have a nice, shiny, and smooth fingerboard. Now, while you're cleaning your fingerboard, one thing to look for is to see if there are any grooves on the first position. Sometimes violinists have a tendency to press really hard, and then I remember back in the day I used to press really hard, and there would be like little bumps in the first finger, the first position, excuse me, and that would be a good time to kind of like assess to see if you have those grooves. A lot of the times luthiers can even that out so you don't feel the grooves. Always worth checking while you're cleaning your instrument. Actually, oh, this is a good example. You might see a little bit of that skin or gunk right over here. So that's what we're trying to clean off. So I'm gonna continue working my way through here. You'll find like a pretty sticky sensation because that is extra skin that you're cleaning off. So you wanna really make sure that everything is clean. And I have a little bit more on the edge. And partially it's the rosin from your violin bow, and partially it is from the skin. You know, when you're playing up in the higher registers on the G string, sometimes you just have that build up, and that's normal. Good, so it's already looking way better than it did before. I'm just gonna kind of touch up on a couple spots here. Looks like I have a little bit of skin that I have to clean off here. You can press down a little bit to get that extra skin off. And then on the side here. Good, so it's already looking a lot better. Now, just last but not least, I'm gonna just go really carefully along the G string here. Good. I'm pretty happy with that. I mean, there is a little bit of extra, but I'm not going to be too picky on that. Now, last thing, I'm going to put the cloth underneath the strings, and I'm just going to give it one last cleaning here just to get all that extra rosin, skin out of the way. And then another great way is to clean your strings right while you're doing this, so you can kind of clean the strings this way so that the rosin doesn't get on the violin itself. You can kind of cover your violin off this way, so that way you're kind of saving yourself some time here. Great, so let's take a look now on some hard to reach places before we actually get to this polish. So we want to have a dry cleaning, which means we're still going to use this this microfiber cloth that we've been using just a second ago, and we're just going to go and clean the hard to reach spots. So first of all, a first hard to reach spot are the F holes. So what I like to do is use the corner of my microfiber cloth. I like to kind of insert that in. Now you be careful so you're not doing it too aggressively, but you want to just loosen the dirt. And I like to kind of do a little bit of this, and I kind of like to go into the F hole itself, and I like to clean just any extra dust there. I'm going to do that right over here. Sometimes I see one of my luthier friends posting pictures on her Instagram on some dust bunnies that accumulate in some violins and some cellos. I find that to be really funny. So if you don't clean your violin, or this is the first time you're cleaning your violin in a while, and you're kind of hearing some kind of noise inside the violin crackling, that could be a dust bunny. It could be something else. So I would recommend you check that out with a luthier, because they are able to kind of look and peek inside this way at an angle, or they actually have these little tiny cameras that they insert to see if they trying to figure out the problem before they disassemble the instrument in its entirety. So great. So we're gonna go ahead and do the other side. I'm pretty happy with the left side of the F hole. So I'm gonna go ahead and just insert my microfiber cloth here. I'm gonna clean that up this way. Great. And then I'm gonna go ahead, clean that off this way. Excellent. So now, I'm just gonna gently go along the F hole, very gently. And the reason why you want to go gently is because this part of the violin, the wood, is not very thick. So you want to just be very careful. Good. And then what I'm going to do as well is I'm going to kind of clean all the corners of the violin where a lot of rosin builds up, especially near the ribs. You want to just kind of like you do the corners. And I'm just like using my index finger as my pointer finger, and I'm kind of like going along the bottom part of the violin and the top part of the violin for any remaining dust. A lot of dust actually pops up near the chin rest, believe it or not. And as a matter of fact, I'm going to disassemble that so that I can clean it a little bit. Good. Just to get into those hard to reach spaces. And all the tools that I'm using are down in the description below, like this chin rest screw, the polish, and the microfiber cloth. You can all get those using the links in the description. Okay, so I'm gonna gently pull that off a bit. Great, pops off like a charm. And this was going to be one of our next steps anyway, but you can see all that dirt. You may not see it, but there's a lot of dirt and gunk from, you know, holding your violin for so many times. You're just gonna wipe that off a bit, and you can kind of see here that there is a bit of skin, especially right over here. I'm gonna clean that. And then you see this button over here, friends. You're gonna find that that's where the tailpiece attaches to the button. And we're just going to go underneath that button if we can, gently. So let me go ahead and do that from a bird's eye view and then show you what that may look like. Then sometimes if it doesn't work out, grab a pencil and then try to get that through. Let's see, let's try that again. Good. Or you can use some pliers or some tweezers. I know I had a violin comment the other time when I was changing my strings and showing you a tutorial on how to change strings about using pliers, like the one like the eyebrow tweezers. You can do that as well, but already much better in terms of cleaning that part of the instrument. So we're gonna continue working our way around, just very carefully. Put the violin on the side. Continue that clean drying here. Good. And then we can start making our way towards the front of the instrument. So, you know, if you see any dust, you know, just rub it off gently with this microfiber cloth. And then for the hard to reach spaces, you can put the microfiber cloth underneath the fingerboard and just get all that dust. Sometimes that accumulates a lot. Good. And then we're going to go the opposite way underneath the tailpiece. And now a lot of people actually don't clean underneath the tailpiece because they believe that, okay, all the rosin builds up here. But believe it or not, the rosin does travel and it can go underneath the tailpiece, underneath here. So that's another area, and you can see that there is a bit of a gap between the tailpiece and the instrument itself, the top of the violin. So you can clean the top this way using the same method as I did before underneath the fingerboard. So let me try that again. Put that up here a little bit. And then just dry clean it here with the microfiber cloth, getting any skin or remaining dust off the violin. Now, something you might want to consider as well, friends, is there is a lot of buildup of dust or dirt near the tailpiece. Now, if you have fine tuners, you're using those fine tuners, and all that extra excess skin can make the violin a little dirty. So I like to just clean that a little bit. And try to go in between the screws. Some of you don't even have an A fine tuner, but for me, life is short, so I use that fine tuner A, especially when I'm in an orchestral setting. It makes tuning way easier. If you're a violin soloist and you're looking into having the most sound, getting rid of this fine tuner is and can be an option. So good. Now remember that we're not aggressively getting all the dust out, even though you may see a little bit of dirt and gunk. You're just loosening the dirt of the violin on the front, and then you're going to loosen the dirt on the back. And don't forget to loosen the dirt on the scroll, because we're going to be working on the scroll as well. Don't worry about the inside of the peg box. We're not going to be doing much of that, but just make sure you get the corners of the scroll here, and then we're just going to sneak in a microfiber cloth underneath the scroll this way to get all that extra dirt. Now looky here, already much better improved. Now I didn't forget about the chin rest, and you want to clean all the skin coming from your chin rest so we don't have any buildup. So I just like to kind of use, again, microfiber cloth to get all that remaining dirt off. One thing you might want to just pay attention to is this cork on the bottom of the chin rest and on the bottom of this plate here. You might want to just inspect to see how much cork there is, because if it's starting to get loose, that could be a sign where you might want to go to a luthier or just buy another bracket with a cork on it. So this is a great time to do that. And some of these corks are custom made. So if you find that some of the cork is peeling off, go to your local luthier and just get that fixed. And it's pretty thin, but the glue on, between the cork and the chin rest is very strong. This is a great way to just inspect that. But I digress. I'm going to put that to the side. This looks pretty clean to my eye. I'm going to put that here. And now we're finally getting over to the polish. So I'm just going to shake this polish, because sometimes if it's sitting for a while, I'm not, some of the chemicals will be blended better. Okay, now you can see that from previous times, I actually cleaned my violin a little bit, so you see like some of the stain marks from this violin polish. That's okay. I'm actually going to be disposing this of this polish microfiber cloth soon. Now what I like to do, you don't want to put a lot on the cloth. I like to put the cloth over the polish. I kind of like do it very quickly, and you see I have a little circle from the polish. And what I'm going to do, I'm going to go in a circular motion across the top. And I would do this gently, just to be able to get every single corner of the violin, working my way downwards. And depending on how clean or dirty your violin is, just continue working in a circular motion. And then go halfway here. Good. I'm going to continue maybe adding a little bit more from... I'm actually, now that I'm thinking about it, I'm actually working in quarters. So I'm going from like right here to here. Then I'm going to twist the violin. I'm going to go the other side. And then you're going to do that on the back as well. But I'm going to try just adding a little bit more. And then you would repeat this process. I'm using, wider strokes here. And then for those hard to reach or very dirty places, I will probably use a little bit smaller circles to clean all the gunk off. And you may even tell that there's a little bit more shine now on the right side, but we're going to be using this extra cloth on the left here. So, you know, I didn't forget about that. And you can already tell that there is some dirt accumulating on this beige color already. So it gives you a good idea of like how clean or dirty your violin is just by going through this first process here. Now for me, I feel like I need to clean this part a little more near the F hole. So I'm just gonna add a teensy bit more. And for good reason why there's a little bit more gunk, because that's where the rosin can fly off and they can, you know, stick onto the violin. Good. Now remember to always get in through those hard to reach spaces as well. Good. All right, so that looks pretty nice to me. I'm gonna go ahead towards the other side. And then you would repeat this process.
Okay.
And you want to pay extra attention to the right F hole because, you know, that's where our bow, you know, goes. And you want to just kind of pay extra attention because there could be a lot more rosin buildup as well. So just be mindful of that. So I'm just gonna go ahead and work these hard to reach spots. Okay, looks like there's a little bit more here that I can use to clean up this part. I'm gonna get to those hard to reach spots as well. Now that is looking pretty shiny to me, friends. So I'm gonna do the same part on the back. And before I do that, I'm just gonna add some more polish. And then for the back, you kind of go all out on it. You don't have to work in sections like I did in the front. So I just use a big, wide stroke on this. Trying to get all the little details here. I'm gonna add some more. And I might have mentioned this, probably not, but I'm still using the dirty microfiber cloth for a specific reason. And, you know, to actually buffer and polish like the remaining extra like streaks off the violin, I'm gonna use the clean cloth just to kind of get that nice clean finish. And you also want to pay attention to where the shoulder or the chin rest go, because there could be a lot of like gunk buildup from the skin that I showed you from here. So just be careful about, you know, not avoiding this section. Good. Now I'm just gonna do a little finishing touch on the scroll. I'm gonna start from the back, and I like to get through the grooves as well here. Now be careful not getting any polish onto the fingerboard. I know some violins are pretty sensitive. If it gets too slippery, then it doesn't make the playing any better. So unless you want to, if you want it to be completely clean, but I'm just gonna do the top as well of the scroll, so that way there's no dust. And for those hard to reach spots, I'm just kind of crumple up the microfiber cloth to get some of the dust out. Great, so I'm pretty satisfied with this cleaning so far. Now, oh, I missed a spot, hold on a second. Great, so now I feel like, well, not really happy. Let me try that one more time. I'm gonna go ahead over here just to kind of clean, because sometimes I forgot to mention this, but sometimes the rosin can build up on the cage or on the rib cage. So just be careful about that. And now we're gonna go towards the actual buffering of the violin. So what I'm doing is I'm just kind of cleaning any streaks that I got from the previous cleaning, the dry cleaning. Pretty generous about that. I'm gonna also do the scroll while I'm at it. And then I'm gonna go towards the back. Now keep in mind that the chin rest is still off. And now I'm just gonna install the chin rest back to its location. Make sure you're gentle about it. Might have to loosen this up a bit. Great. Bring that in a little bit. Just make sure not to go too tight on it. Just snug. Now a perfectly clean violin, folks. And this is gonna actually help your sound, believe it or not. So if you like this video, hit the subscribe button, hit the like button, share this video with someone who may want to see this, who it might be helpful for them. And I also have a bunch of other violin tutorials on this channel in terms of playing the violin. So be sure to subscribe and I'll see you in the next video.